Number 5.
So sitting at number 5 in my top 5 zombie games is Stubbs the Zombie Rebel Without a Cause, where you're playing as a zombie salesman, just going around and converting humans into your zombie allies. With this game being one of my first zombie games that I had ever played coming out on the original Xbox, I find it really fun to have played. It had a great concept taking place in the 50s or the 80s, I believe it was. I can't really remember. It's been a while since I played the game. I believe it's on PC, and if it's on Steam, I plan on picking that up, and I will definitely do a Let's Play of it. So, Stubbs the Zombie Rebel Without a Cause, it started my love for zombies. It's really fun, and it's really entertaining. I've sat there whenever I was younger playing it for hours on end, just doing nothing but running around killing people, possessing them, taking their stuff, or not taking their stuff, but using their bodies and going around and killing other people and all. It's a really great game. It's an innovating zombie game that's kind of different from most zombie games. In most zombie games, you're just running around killing people, killing the zombies. This zombie game lets you be the zombie. Not only are you the zombie, but you are a zombie salesman who can use his own body parts as weapons. What more can you ask for from this kind of game? It's one of my favorite games. It's been one of my favorite games. If you haven't tried it, you should definitely try it. Like I said, I believe it's on PC. It's not that graphically intense, so I'm pretty sure any computer can really handle it. It's a great game. It got me into my love for zombies back way Xbox days, the original Xbox, of course. And if you think about it, this game came out in 2005, so here we are 8 years later, and look what we're coming to. So definitely, if you ever get the chance to find it on PC, or if you have an original Xbox and you can find it at any store, a vintage store or something that sells games like that, pick it up. Great game, great buy, definitely worth the money. If you can't pick it up, check out a Let's Play of it on YouTube. I guarantee you'll enjoy it. So, on to number 4.
Number 4.
So coming in at number 4 is Dead Rising 2. So with this game, it's one of the best concepts for a zombie video game I can say, because it takes place in a somewhat open world where everything is your weapon. There's hordes of zombies everywhere, but there isn't just zombies running after you constantly like most zombie games out there. So with this concept of the game, you could run around, and everything being your weapon, you could go into different shops that are inside the mall and casino, and you could pick up stuff like there was a little Indian shop, I believe, in Dead Rising 2 where you could go in there and get a bow and arrow, a spear, and stuff like that. Really cool. And with Dead Rising 2 being the only Dead Rising that went cross-platform onto the PS3, the Xbox 360, and the PC, it was really innovating for that. I really approved of this game where you play as Chuck, who his daughter was bitten, and you have to go and get her Zombrex and all this kind of other stuff just to save her. There's bosses in this game, which makes it fun, so it's not always the same thing over and over, just running around killing zombies. But you could also create new weapons. A hockey stick combined with a chainsaw, you get this really wicked double chainsaw. You put that on a motorcycle, and you just chop through zombies. This game was great. The online co-op was awesome. I would have put this in a higher spot, but I didn't really know where to put it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this game as much as I did, and with the release of Dead Rising 3 right around the corner, this might be the only reason I'm picking up the Xbox One. Other than that, nothing seems interesting. So, hope you guys agree with me on Dead Rising being a number 4 spot.
So we're almost at the end, ladies and gentlemen. I present to you number 3.
So taking the number 3 spot isn't just Resident Evil Revelations, but most Resident Evil games. Though it may not be your normal typical zombie game, it still is considered a zombie game. There are infected, and you do run around killing them. Yes, Resident Evil has made some great games, such as Resident Evil 1 through 3, Code Veronica, and there's been some games that haven't been so great, such as Resident Evil 6, Resident Evil 5, and Operation Raccoon City. We can all agree that there's been some troubled times for Resident Evil with those 3 games right there. But Resident Evil does pick itself back up. Resident Evil 4 was great, and then they brought it to the iPhone and all that, the iPad, the Androids, so it just makes it that much better. Then they kind of lowered the bar again whenever PlayStation Plus allowed them to put a game for free on there. I forgot what it was called, but that game was not that great. They kind of stole the concept of House of the Dead for me. So, honestly, Resident Evil is some great games. They've had some great movies as well. But honestly, if they were to stick to the old concept of the older games, such as Resident Evil 1 through 4, Code Veronica, and all those, I think the concept would be a lot better. They have some great Infected. It has a great story to it. And it's got great multiplayer, great co-op, all that. I spend hours playing co-op on Resident Evil. I loved the co-op. The Infected, the Mahini, I think that's what they're called. The one that always freaked me out the most was the Chainsaw Mahini. That thing was scary, and that thing was evil. So, I think to say Resident Evil deserves the number 3 spot on my top 5 list. Not putting it as the best zombie game out there, but it's also not putting it as the number 5 spot, which isn't so great. So, hope you guys agree with this one being number 3.
Number 2.
So for number 2, I chose Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare. Yes, it's a DLC pack, but it also came to disc, so you can't forget about that. And with it being an exception of a Western game mixed with zombies, I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. It starts out with John Marston returning home to his wife being bitten, I believe. I can't really remember. It's been a while since I played this game. I got it from one of my friends in 9th grade. He gave it to me for the Xbox, and I spent hours on it. I love zombies. For a Western game, they did it really well. Not to mention, they got the 4 Horses of the Apocalypse in it. I think they're hard to find. I never was able to get one, but it's freaking awesome to have the 4 Horses of the Apocalypse in a video game that you could ride. Especially being made by Rockstar, you know, the creators of Grand Theft Auto. This game was absolutely amazing, 100% fantastic. Definitely, I'm glad they made it as a standalone on disc for the DLC, but for a DLC, this thing packed a punch. Yes, that was a reference to Call of Duty Zombies, and no, that's not on the list. But anyways, come on, what can you ask for? Zombies, Western, video game, Rockstar, styles of Grand Theft Auto. All mixed into one thing? This game was great. I can't even explain to you how awesome it was. It was amazing. And for it to be a standalone disc, there was a little trick that I don't know if a lot of people knew about it, but if you had it on disc and you didn't have the original Red Dead Redemption game, you could still go online to the Red Dead Redemption game online and play with other people. Like, I would play with my friends, just multiplayer, just fucking around and shit, and I didn't own the real Red Dead, and they did. So, for that game to be able to have all this stuff, and it being a DLC, I really approve of this game, and I hope you guys agree that it was a good spot for number 2.
And finally, number 1.
Alright, you guys, so in the number 1 spot, I chose The Last of Us. The game of, my personal opinion for Game of the Year, and my favorite Infected game. This game is beautiful. From the gameplay, to the story, to the graphics, everything is on key, everything is great. This game is perfection at its finest. Naughty Dog did really good about this game, And it may not be the regular kind of zombies that you're used to, but cordyceps, which is like plant zombies and stuff like that. This game is great. From the story being intense at times to it being sad. Whenever I first played this game, in the first 15 minutes, I broke tears. I cried. Literally, it's that sad. This game is amazing. If you have a PS3, I suggest you get this game if you haven't already. This game was outright beautiful. I don't know how much to explain about it. The multiplayer is great. The storyline was great. It was just amazing. Joel and Ellie, both of the characters, you just fell in love with. They were a part of you. They were a part of yourself, your life. Everything about this game was amazing. So, if you haven't already, I suggest picking it up, as I've already said. But it is PlayStation exclusive, and that this game is definitely worthy of #1 spot. Even if you don't have a PlayStation, check them out. There's Let's Plays all over YouTube. And I hope you guys enjoy this. Enjoy. So with my top 5 being done, you guys, I hope you really enjoyed it. I hope you agree with me on some of the things I've said. I hope you want me to do more top 5s. Leave a comment down below on what you want my next top 5 to be. I will do anything you guys ask for. Keep it a video game related, movie related, whatnot, stuff like that. I really enjoyed making this top 5. It put together my favorite thing, zombies. I love zombies. Few of my games are zombies. I grew up playing nothing but zombie video games. It started out with Stubbs the Zombie, which came #5 on my list. That was my first zombie game ever. And then I started getting more into like House of the Dead over at movie theaters. I would go to movie theaters and they would have the arcades of House of the Dead. I would go nuts for that game. It was great. I loved it. And then it came to the PS1, I believe. Was it? I don't even remember, but that game is just downright perfection. I know I said that about The Last of Us, but I did enjoy House of the Dead. That was one of the founder zombie games, in my opinion, for first-person shooters. And then, third grade or so, I found out that they made House of the Dead a game like... it was like an English-type game for spelling and grammar and all that, where it was the same thing as House of the Dead, but instead of having to shoot, obviously, you typed something. If you spelt it right in the right amount of time, you earned yourself a kill. It went through the same exact map. So, what do I mean about that? It's House of the Dead with just spelling. But I've grown up with zombies. I've loved zombies for the longest time. I think zombies are a natural icon, like, in pop culture now. I mean, without zombies, there wouldn't be George Romero, him. There wouldn't be amazing things like that. I mean, George Romero is the father of zombie movies. I mean, they put him in Black Ops, the Call of the Dead. They put him in that because he's obviously the father of zombies. I mean, Survival of the Dead, I think, was him. I know Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, all that was George A. Romero. And that man he makes great movies. I mean, he sparked a generation of movies. So I'm just going to give a couple of honorable mentions that didn't make it to the list, but were close to making it to the list in my opinion. There is some reasons why they didn't make it to the list, and I will say a couple of them. Starting out is Call of Duty Zombies. I mean, started from World at War, Black Ops, and Black Ops 2. They have some great maps for the Call of Duty community, but I didn't put it on the list because it's a mode. It's not a full game, so I didn't feel it needed to be on the list. The next one, Lollipop Chainsaw. That game was great. In my opinion, I liked it. It was kind of cheesy for some parts. I mean, you get a trophy for looking up Juliet's skirt. How cheesy is that? But I enjoy it, and it somewhat reminds me of Stubbs the Zombie. Just like the theme of it in a way, the rockabilly, all that stuff. So that's an honorable mention, of course. House of the Dead is definitely an honorable mention if I spent like a minute or two talking about it just now. But there's other games like State of Decay. I would have put that on the list if I would have been able to get a chance to play it, but I don't have a 360 right now, so I never got the chance to play it. I do like the way it looks, but I want to try it out before I mention it. The next one is DayZ. It's an Arma 2 mod, and I'm not too sure about it. It looks fun, and it looks great, but if it's anything like the whole